Now in business news, an economist has shed more light on key events that shaped the Nigerian business environment in 2023. According to the Chief Executive Officer of the Center for Promotion of Private Enterprise, Dr. Muda Yusuf, while speaking earlier today on our flagship business show, Business Nigeria, one of the major reforms that shaped the economy was the unification of the exchange rate. He said, though the reform created some disruptions in the economy, but he believes it is necessary for long-term benefits.
The major issues that we had in 2023, were the reforms. Two major reforms. The foreign exchange reform, which is the unification of the exchange rate, and the fuel subsidy removal. Those were two major reforms that had far-reaching implications, for businesses and for the citizens. Because of the very wide ramifications of their impact. These reforms were necessary, they were inevitable, but unfortunately they came with a lot of pains, almost, disproportionate to what many of us expected. We never expected that the shock of those reforms would be as much as it was. If you take the exchange rate convergence, many of us who are economists have advocated for it, given all the challenges that characterized the previous foreign exchange regime, the corruption, the round-tripping, and all manner of, transparency issues. So it was a policy that was necessary, and you can see, even from your reports, you can see the impact of the exchange rate reform on revenue.
The Lagos State government has been appraised for the year 2023 budget performance, reaching 78% attainment in the third quarter. Business experts and economists revealed this at the roundtable review for the Lagos economy in the year 2023 and the outlook for the year 2024. This held in Lagos. At the roundtable, the president of the Nigerian Economic Society, Professor Adeola Akiniji, commended the state government for the indicators shown in the proposed bill that almost half of the spending is coming from internally generated revenue. That's the IGR. While Chief Executive Officer of Economic Associates, Dr. Ayoteriba, wants the state government to make collections of its assets for fee and rent based on revenue generation and enhance the 2024 budget. Economic Intelligence Department of the State Economic Planning and Budget expressed hope that the year 2024's appropriation bill, when passed, would meet expectations.
Lagos is one of the very few states in Nigeria that are not overly dependent on what happens at the center. Lagos State can, from the data you mentioned now about 2024 budget, almost more than half of the revenue will be coming from IGR. That is huge. That is applauded. That is very impressive. And he said that it's realizable.
I think in Nigeria today, I've not seen any state that motivates its staff better than Lagos State. Their salary are paid at a time, even before the end of the month. I know my people who are working in Lagos State as well. And they are also, I heard what the governor said recently in terms of at least the palliatives as well.
Lagos has done very well with waste management. You have even created an institution called LOMA in waste management. You have created a waste management cadre, and you now have a LOMA Academy or something of the sort. You have done, recorded similar strides in traffic management.
The National Automotive Design and Development Council is seeking that used vehicles above 20 years of use should be banned from being imported into the country. The agency's Director General, Mr. Joseph Osaniping, made this known at a public sector engagement on the implementation of Nigeria's Automotive Industry Development Plan. He also added that the agency would work with relevant stakeholders to help make this happen. Lara Folayo reports.
A public sector engagement on the implementation of the Nigerian Automotive Industry Development Plan. The country's automotive design and development authorities feel a ban on importation of cars above 20 years should be put in place in the country. They believe this will help drive local production of cars and also encourage the assemblage and manufacturing of indigenous vehicles, which will drastically cut down on the nation's import dependence. On efforts towards implementing the country's automotive policy, the agency assures that efforts are ongoing to fix challenges such as poor financing and low production output. Areas of vehicle components production such as battery, tires and leather are also being considered. The roll-up standards in helping these vehicle production ideas thrive are also in focus here.
We manufacture vehicle, we assemble vehicle in Nigeria. By gradually, if we encourage this and encourage local content, M is talking about local. We can do tire, we can do brake pad, we can do glass, we can do plastic, we can do the seat, all these things. By the time we start doing all this, and the effect of dollar will not be on it, the effect of foreign exchange will not be on it. We'll be able to produce at a reasonable price, that is lower price, which will be affordable to everybody.
Well, I think we have to rediscover ourselves. We have a big opportunity here. We're a big nation, large population. I think that Nigeria is one of two very large populated countries that is not taking advantage of what the automotive industry offers. Therefore, this is a new beginning, it's a reawakening. And we cannot say because we have low local content, we will not start.
The thinking is that improved output in the local auto industry can help address issues of unemployment and aid improved job as well as wealth creation while attracting investments amongst many benefits. The local automotive industry players on their part seek that the sector's scope of operation be expanded with bigger markets open for penetration purposes. Lara Kolayan, TVC News, Abuja.
Some foreign news. The Bank of Japan's governor, Mr. Kazuhide, says the likelihood of achieving the central bank's inflation target was gradually rising, and it would consider changing policy if the prospects of sustainably achieving the 2% target increase sufficiently. The bank's governor, Mr. Uda, said companies are being more open to raising wages and prices. The key is whether wages will continue rising next year and lead to further increases in the service prices. He said the Bank of Japan had not decided on a specific timing to change the loosest monetary stance of any major central bank due to uncertainties over economic and market development. The governor said the bank will carefully examine policies, economic development, as well as firm wage and price setting behaviors, and thereby decide on future monetary policy in an appropriate manner. Meanwhile, the General Assembly has approved $3.59 billion budget for the United Nations for 2024, including the establishment of a special account to finance the organization's peace-building fund. The Office of the President of the General Assembly in a statement said the budget was approved on Friday. The 103-member General Assembly also adopted nearly $50 million in addition funding for decisions taken by Human Rights Council, UN's primary forum on human rights matters. In October, the Secretary General presented a $3.3 billion budget proposed to the General Assembly, stressing to delegates at the Assembly's main budget committee that the role of the United Nations has never been more vital. Thailand government says major Japanese automakers will invest 150 billion baht, that's about $4.3 billion in Thai, over the next 5 years, supporting the Southeastern Asian countries' transition to making electric vehicles. Toyota Motors and Honda Motors will invest about 50 billion baht each, while Isuzu Motors will invest 30 billion baht, and Mitsubishi Motors 20 billion baht. Spokesperson of the government, Mr. Chai Wakruk, says this would include the production of electric pickup trucks. Thailand is aiming to convert about a third of its annual production of 2.5 million vehicles into EVs by 2030 and is preparing incentives to encourage more investment and conversion into EU manufacturing.